You'd asked me, I wasn't sure we'd ever see an unemployment rate with a 5 in front of it during the Obama administration. If you look last year, most of the forecasters were saying we'd have to wait till 2017 to see this.
Finally, Jason, participation rate lowest since '78. Are we going to be saying that month after month from here into eternity?
You know, I think there's two big things going on in participation. Demography, and that's going to continue to pull us down for quite a time to come.
So welcome back to the Steve Malzberg Show. Steve is off observing the Yom Kippur holidays today. I'm Rick Unger from Forbes Magazine and SiriusXM Radio, filling in, and joining me today in the co-hosting chair, legendary journalist John Fund. So you just heard from Jason Furman on that video, chairman of the Council of Economic Advisors. He's discussing the positive unemployment numbers that came in today. To do the same, we're honored to be joined now by Grover Norquist, the president for Americans for Tax Reform. Grover, welcome to the program.
Delighted to be with you.
So give us your take to start things off. What did you think of today's unemployment numbers?
Well, if you look at economic growth since the bottom of the recession, since we turned around, and compare it to all the recoveries since 1960, we're about 6 million jobs under where we should be. This is the lousiest recovery since 1960. If you compare it to Reagan, we're about 12 million jobs under, and Reagan had to deal with double-digit inflation. So it's good that we're not getting worse in terms of unemployment numbers. It's bad that people keep leaving the job market, meaning they've given up looking. So it's pretty bad. I mean, compared to every other recovery, it's awful.
Well, Grover,
there are millions of people out of work.
Grover, somebody can be employed, but the question is, what kind of job do they have? Some people work for employers who are trying to get out of Obamacare and only working 29 hours a week. Some are part-timers or temps. Has the structure of the jobs we're creating in this recovery changed from previous recoveries?
Well, you do have the problem that some people have part-time as opposed to wanting full-time jobs. But I think the biggest problem is the number of millions of jobs of people who aren't employed, who would have been with either a normal recovery and the 10-plus million jobs that with a Reagan-style recovery. Obama took the wrong policies, and we're paying a price. This is people out of work.
Grover, I wanted to pivot a little bit so Rick and I could talk to you about the midterm elections.
Sure.
You've written recently that there are going to be 3 or 4 elections you think are the most important in the country. Maybe you could sort of outline them and why.
Sure. Look, a lot of people are focused on the Senate races because the Republicans may well capture the Senate, and that's interesting and important. But at the end of the day, it simply allows a conversation about where Republicans and Democrats want to be in Washington. Go out to the states. There you have 2 governors' races where Republican governors have staked out very strong models for the future that can either be accepted and replicated across the country or rejected. One is in Wisconsin, where Act 10 was passed. Governor Scott Walker dramatically reformed the public sector unionism situation, which saved already $2 billion for local governments because they could more easily move workers around and have people have more flexibility, and the teachers don't have to let the new teachers go. If there are too many teachers, you're allowed to let the teachers who can't teach go. That level of flexibility in labor, and it also says to teachers in the state of Wisconsin, right now if you make $50,000 as a Wisconsin teacher, under the old rules, under the old law, the teachers union took $1,000 from you. You didn't
Grover,
get a chance to say
what's
yes
the
or
other
no.
race? Because we're a little bit pressed for
Kansas.
time. I want to.
The other rule is Kansas, and there they've passed a law, not an interesting idea, but a law, an actual law, which will phase out the income tax. Every time economic growth comes in above 2% a year in terms of growth of revenue, all the additional revenue beyond 2% goes to cut the income tax, permanently ratcheting it down towards zero.
And yet, Grover, in Kansas, you have a situation where Brownback is not doing all that well because it appears that the public there thinks he may have overcut taxes. In the 15 seconds I got left for you, what do you have to say about that?
One, there is a division inside the Republican Party. They're now actually neck and neck. I think he'll win. His challenge is not that the taxes aren't high enough, it's that the Republican Party got split in the primary so far.
Interesting. And in Wisconsin, you see Walker pulling it out quickly. The polls there are also pretty neck and neck.
Most recent poll has Walker up 5, which is a growing lead. I think he's getting stronger.
You think he's getting stronger? Okay, that's Grover Norquist, one of my favorite sources for all things conservative. He's the guy. You know, we didn't get to ask Grover, John, was whether or not all of these new candidates are signing the tax pledge. I'd be very interested to know.
I don't think Grover speaks favorably of any candidate who doesn't sign the tax pledge.
That's what I thought. All right, coming up next, midterm. We got lawyer, author, and Lignet computer. Gordon Chang is going to be joining us. One of my favorite commenters on China. You don't want to miss him.